क्षमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ Verse 126. तत्त्वविस्मृतिमात्रान्न अनर्थः किन्तु विपर्ययात् विपर्येतुं न कालोऽस्ति जटिति स्मरतः क्वचित्. So Vidyaranya deals with the topic of this Nididhyasanam, which is meant for removing this Viparita Bhavana. So Dehatma Bhavana or Viparita Bhavana, it's one and the same thing. Viparyaya, Viparita Bhavana, Dehatma Bhavana, etc. In other words, Sahankara, Mamakara, looming large in my subconscious mind. So Nididhyasanam is not meant for knowledge or conviction, but it is meant to drive this knowledge into subconscious mind. Where this notion is, anything, any impression, when it becomes strong, it goes to subconscious mind. In a conscious mind, new experiences, new impressions, born of experiences will take place. And then that repeated experiences will create a strong impression. That strong impression remains with you. That is in subconscious. That is called subconscious mind. We call it habit also. We say out of habit. Even though I knew, but out of habit I did this. Means this is a subconscious mind. For us there is the thing, conscious mind means which is manifest. Subconscious, unmanifest. That's all. We have two things, not unconscious and subconscious. It is all psychology or something, where we are not concerned about it. Conscious mind means which is manifest, which you right now perceive in your mind. But then the impressions daily which are born, and then that's how we are able to recognize also. You see me for the first time today. Tomorrow you recognize. But this is one experience. It's over within a moment. But then new experiences takes place today. But tomorrow when you meet again, you suddenly, you remember it. You remember me. So this is how? Oh, from my memory. So that's what? Memory means it's impression which manifests. So that is how the things are. So that's how Pratyabhijna and everything. Ultimately, all this is stored. The information which is stored out, which we call vasanas, which are stored. It is all Karana Sharira. That's all it is. Nothing else. So all subconscious, unconscious, whatever you want to say. It's all Karana Sharira. That is where in deep sleep state everything resolves. Yeah, subconscious, unconscious, whatever. So anyway, this is just by the way. So this Nididhyasanam is meant to drive the knowledge into our subconscious mind. So even after our conscious mind is convinced in our heart of hearts, because of the long habit or vasana, there is a continuity of ahankara and mamakara. Ahankara is an identification with the body mind sense complex. Mamakara is an identification with the near and dear ones. That's the difference. It's an extension of the same Ahankara. Because you have to identify with near and dear ones through the identification of the body. No identification with the near and dear one takes place if you do not identify with the physical body. Example is deep sleep state. Anyway, so both are this, ahankara, mamakara, abhimana, or ahankara, mamakara as such, not abhimana. I, the consciousness, identify with the body is called ahankara. I, the consciousness, identify with the near and dear ones is called mamakara. Both are this unvedantic thought patterns, we can say. And and because from Vedanta standpoint, I am just consciousness, pure consciousness, nothing else. Nothing else. And so I can never claim anything, other than the consciousness. But still I claim as ahankara or mamakara, then it is an unvedantic thought pattern. Because Atma does not have a relation with anything. To have a relationship with anything, there should be another thing. And then, there is nothing else. From the standpoint of consciousness, nothing else is there. And therefore, that's how asangaha word also ultimately leads to limitlessness. Asangaha means unconnected. There is no connection. Means people think that there is no connection. Because like the electricity is there and the bulb is there, but not connected that way. No. Unconnected, because ultimately there is no other thing to connect with. And therefore, then you are limitless. If there is another thing, you already become limited. If there is no other thing other than you, means you are limitless. So that is how aham purna, aham asangaha is equal to aham purna. So ahankara and mamakara, we call it as anti-Vedanta. Aham mama basically remains in our subconscious mind. Why? Because a strong impression. Why strong impression? Because of the anadi ignorance. And therefore, viparya, this viparita bhavana, dehatma bhavana is also very strong. And we call it as a habitual error. Again, the same thing. Habitual error. Any habit is subconscious mind. Any habit is subconscious mind. Ultimately. Because you're just totally oriented to see the things in a particular way. Because of the strong impressions. And strong impression, to take the body as the self is a very strong impression in me. It's a habit. But again, it is error, that's for habitual error. And it is born of ignorance, which is anadi, which is beginningless, and therefore this taking myself as a body, mind, sense complex is also anadi, and therefore it is very strong. That's called subconscious. Means nididhyasanam should percolate. This knowledge, I am Brahman, should percolate into the subconscious and remove the old habit. That's the purpose. Nididhyasanam cannot give you any knowledge. Does not give you any conviction. It only removes this notion which is entrenched in you. And therefore, and that being a habit, it takes time. It takes time. How much time? We don't know. To remove any habit, two people are there, both have the same habit of smoking. One can remove a little faster, one can remove very slowly, like a local train. For years together, he continues. First 6 cigarettes a day, then they slowly 5, then slowly 4, slowly 3. Because people want a result of an nididhyasana. The nishtha, the clarity, total clarity that I am Brahman, immediately, jatiti. Like that. If you are able to remove any of your habit within one stroke, Well, you can do them. And this is the oldest habit, which is again error, of course, but is oldest habit. It will take time. Perhaps the whole life. Perhaps the whole life. So Nididhyasanam, don't expect. You are free. Do Nididhyasanam and have a rest. I mean, be at a comfort level. I am free. That's the first point in Nididhyasana. I am free. And then, well, this error is there. Well, okay, I'm in a process to remove there. So there should not be any anxiety. Any anxiety means you are going away from moksha. Moksha means freedom from anxiety also, right? So anxious to become free itself is inimical to become free. If you are more anxious, why are you talking Swamiji? People are anxious. So anxious to be free. Swamiji, life is very, is very, very, it's impermanent, it's very transient, and so anytime I can leave, before I leave, I would like to do that. You don't leave. That's the first thing. You don't leave anywhere. Everything lives in you. Okay? Everything comes in you and lives you. Okay? And then lives you means it merges into you. You are the substratum of everything. These all things should be there. Because of this old habit, all these notions, before I leave, where are you living? Anyway, this so aham mama remains in the subconscious mind and continues to make me worry about the family, myself, etc. And then, so one side listening to Pancadasi and the other side worry about the family. Both the things continue. So that shows the jnanam is at a subconscious level. Worry means ahankara and mamakara. First you have to identify with the near and dear ones. Then the worry about the near and dear ones. And before that, the identification with the body. So ahankara, mamakara at the subconscious level. And at a conscious level, I am Brahman, listening to Pancadasi. So, well, etc. So Nididhyasanam basically is a process which will remove this. And so it means this jnanam it percolates at the subconscious level and removes that, knocks out the old habit, which is error, I am jiva, etc. And this Nididhyasanam should go along with appropriate pathyam, we should say. If you take any medicine, well, along with the medicine, certain precautions, do's and don'ts should be there. So otherwise it won't work, right? Person takes an insulin and on the other side he takes a volleyball size Tirupati laddu, then it is not going to work. It's not going to. That's how they say. Any kind of exercise you do, you will not lose the weight. Along with the exercise, you control your diet. That's the only way of losing the weight. You are talking like you are a big doctor. No, because doctors are there. So with the support of them, I am talking. No exercise, it's my own experience and so much I heard about. No exercise can make you lose even an ounce of a weight. Ounce of a weight. The pathyam is certain do's and don'ts along with the exercise required, and that is controlling the diet. That's only way. Somebody told me 2 days ago, he does a lot of cycling, almost 30 kilometers or something, daily. A young person. But lot of, fat. I said, why this is like that? He said, I am fond of eating. And for that purpose only I do this cycling, so that I can digest and I can eat more. Not even, he said he's trying to lose the weight. Not successful. I said, then control the diet. He said, I can't. That's it. That's it. Anyway, so Vidyaranya says Nididhyasanam also should go with a certain conducive lifestyle, which is called pathyam. Certain do's and don'ts are there. What type of vyavahara is conducive? Well, tattva smarakam vyavahara in verse 26. Any type of activity which keeps within the fold of Vedantic activity is harmless. Like even in a type of friends and books and discussions or even TV programs can be conducive to Vedantic teaching. But Vismarakam Vyavaraha, he says Vyavara which takes me away, Vismarakam, which takes me away from this Vedanta. Well, or else we can say the nourishing Ahankara Mamakara Vyavara, making Anatma more and more real, while Ragadvesha more and more generated, which is against the Vedanta, Vedantic teaching, Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya, etc. So all unconducive vyavahara, well, you try to reduce. So that's called pathyam. So this is nidhyasanam you are doing. You are taking medicine to remove this ahankara, mamakara disease. But at the same time, certain pathyam, certain do's and don'ts are there along with the nidhyasanam which you don't follow, then nidhyasanam will not work. So therefore, so here unconducive vyavahara we have to reduce. We can't make it, of course, zero, but we can minimize them because we are part of society. And so, even Grihastha or Sannyasi, anybody, it's part of society nowadays. So Grihastha is a Grihastha vyavahara, and vyavahara can't be avoided, but we can filter the vyavahara carefully. So that's what he is discussing now. So first he talks about a certain reading habits. Well, initially you can study this tarka and vyakaranam, etc., which is very good. One has to study in a certain measure. One has to study. It is emphasized also because that helps for Vedantic study. That's how we have started also Sanskrit class, etc. Because Shastra, you should know the language, because Shastra communicates to you. When the communication is in the same language, well, you feel the nearness. So Shastra talks in Sanskritam. You don't know Sanskritam. Then you use some other medium, right, for a language. That doesn't work. When Telugu meets a Telugu, Punjabi meets a Punjabi, you see anywhere. Yeah. You can make friendship with anybody, of course. Any Indian is a friend in United States. Here it is okay. Where some Indian meets there, in Chile and in Congo and somewhere, then you feel, oh, he's an Indian. And that too happens to be from the same state and talks in the same language. You see what a relationship develops, So Shastra, if you want to go near to the Shastra, ultimately for my benefit, I should know the language of communication of the Shastra. That's so simple to understand that. And so Shastra talks in a Sanskritam, well, you should try to understand that, at least. People do that also. In whatever the region they go, they pick up the language. That's how they become one with that. Anyway, so it is useful. Vyakaranam is useful, and even tarka, like a simple understanding few principles of tarka later is useful. And this even our Mimamsa also, upakrama, upasamhara, abhyaso, apurvata, phalam, arthavado, upapattisya, all this, what is upakrama, what is upasamhara, and all that, Mimamsa. Mimamsa means a method of analysis of a Vedic statements. So that is also a aparavidya only. So of course one should know that they are useful, but don't get lost in them. In any shastra one can get lost. And then you study language, Sanskritam, then you say, I want to study Panini, and then I want to study Mahabhashyam, Patanjali Mahabhashyam on Panini Sutras, and then I want to study Kashika Vritti and then Padamanjari and this and that. Because we are gone. Then gone. So each one of these Shastra is a very addictive, basically. So Vidyaranya says, may you be careful about this Dvaita Shastra. Especially the Jiva Ishwar Bheda highlighting Shastra, we should be very careful. Similarly, Anatma Satyatvam, wherever it is highlighted, that Shastra also, if we are studying, we have to reduce it. Even, karma, etc., in form of a puja. So, if we are not alert, we invoke and reinforce Veda. That's how we say. Even in a puja, etc., in all this religious activity, always do a sankalpa, and sankalpa of a oneness with Ishvara. Seek a grace of Ishvara, through the puja, for oneness, no other thing. No other thing. And that helps. So, may you be careful in all this Vyavara. So, and this is a general thing. Each one has to decide his own personal situation in life. So, Vidyaranya gives us a general guidelines here. Avoid Dvaita Shastra. We can't avoid totally this Vyavara, but to the extent we follow, we can do that. And he said in verse 125, we saw last time, this Bhikshatanam, Bhojanam, etc. also we can't avoid, we should take. It's a Dvaita Vyavara only, but it is required. And in verse 126 he says, even if we forget this, Vedanta does not matter. Advaita Vismruti, cannot create a problem. But it is Dvaita projection, that creates a problem. Dvaita projection is Viparita Bhavana only. When you say I am this body, mind, sense complex, ahankara, and someone else belongs to me, etc., mamakara, that is all Dvaita ultimately. Once you say that body, I am this body and not beyond that, that's it. So everything other than this body becomes anatma. I and this, or I and you, whatever. So this Dvaita projection, the Viparita Bhavana, that creates a problem. Just Advaita Vismruti cannot create a problem. And that we know also. That in a deep sleep state, etc., there is a totally, I forget myself. That doesn't create a problem. But in a Jagrat Avastha, this Ahankara, Mamakara becomes dominant. That creates a problem. So, Tattva Vismruti Matrat na anarthaha, he says. Tattva Vismruti Matra. Tattva means Atma, the truth. Vismruti, forgetting. Matra, only if you forget that, that's not anartha, that's not a calamity, no problem. Viparyayat anarthaha. Viparita Bhavana. Aham Brahma is replaced by Aham Deha, Aham Manaha, Aham Buddhihi. That's what happens in Jagrat. And once Ahankara is generated, Mamakara also instantaneously comes. Worry comes, everything comes. So, Viparyayat anartha. You can say Aham Mama Adhyasat anartha. So in case of person, if who limits Vyavara, even if Ahankara, Mamakara comes, he will quickly regains the memory before he gets lost too much. So he says in a simple Vyavara, Viparyetum kalaha nasti. There is not so much time to commit aham mama mistake very seriously. Before it takes a serious turn, he comes back. Don't get too much submerged in Dvaita Vyavara. Jatiti, he says. Jatiti smarataha. This Nidhyasata, definitely before he gets lost, red light burns in his head, and Vedanta tells you have lost yourself. So at once, you remember Pancadasi. So person basically brings back the balance immediately. So that is how you should take care of a Valli Vyavara, in which this Dvaita Vyavara should be taken care of. He gave example of in Vyavara, many things in Vyavara. One, he gave example of reading. Shastra, Dvaita Shastra. If you go too much into that, well, then the Vedantic teaching is lost from your mind. So, Kvachit Viparyaya Nasti. Well, one remembers like this, well, Kvachit, never. Well, Viparyaya, na Kvachit means never. Kvachit means sometime. Na Kvachit, never. Viparyaya, well, this Ahankara, Mamakara will not take a serious turn. They will be generated. That generation will continue throughout the life for even Jnani. Ahankara, Mamakara will arise. So just a simple identification with the body, etc., is required to exhaust the prarabdha. That's a part of Ishvara Srishti and that will be there. But he remembers immediately that is mithya. So this ahankara, etc., is mithya. The body, mind, sense complex is anatma, well, I am Brahman, which is the only reality, that is mithya, etc. He remembers immediately. And therefore ahankara becomes mithya. It arises, but it doesn't take a serious turn. And once you identify with the body, and then certain mamakara also will arise, and then raga, dvesha, worry, and all that. So before it takes a serious turn, he remembers the Vedantic teaching, because he is doing nididhyasana. He has done Shravan Mananam, it is very clear. And this is how Viparyaya, this Dehatma Bhavana, slowly fades away. 127. Tattvasmruteravasaro nasti anyabhyasashalinah pratyutabhyasaghatitvat balat tattvamupekshate. So here again he gives a warning for all people who go far away from the teaching. So he says if you go far away, coming back to Vedanta is very difficult. So when there is a problem, well, samsara overwhelms the person and person suffers so much. As a jnani suffers, same way this nididhyasaka also can suffer. He may have studied for a number of years, but he is going far away from the Vedanta. Shravanam nididhyasanam he has reduced, or nididhyasanam he has reduced. Then this Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya becomes very, 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 it loses clarity. He loses the clarity. So Aham Mama becomes stronger. Nididhyasana is only one which will reduce this Viparyaya. I am Ahankara, I am an individual, they belong to me, whoever are there near him. So all this are reduced in Nididhyasana. If he reduces Nididhyasanam, then Ahankara Mamakara becomes stronger. And then when Prarabdha gives a shock, he will have a shoka. So shock and shoka so he will have a sorrow. This is how the things are. So don't drop yourself into these uncharted waters of Aham Mama. Drop yourself into chartered waters of Vedanta. Anya Abhyasa Shalina, he says. Those people who study Anya Shastra other than Vedanta, Dvaita Shastra, are getting lost in a overwhelming Dvaita Vyavahara. Reading is one of the Vyavahara. It's called Jnana Vyavahara. There is a Karma Vyavahara also. Eating, going around and so many things. Talking over phone and seeing all this, YouTubes and so all this we have to include all these things. I mean, too much sevanam of social media. You are lost. After 2 hours, 3 hours, people are lost in this YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and these and that. Doing messages and again something comes back, again giving messages. Lost, literally lost. Who are lost? Our own people are lost. Anya Abhyasa Shalina. Those people, this is a warning. This is a warning for not a ignorant person. This is a warning who has studied Shastra for a number of years. For them it is. This particular portion is not for anybody, it is for us only. Vidyaranya is addressing us, giving us warning. So, But I don't study anything. People study many things. People read any kinds of magazines and so many types of books and whatnot. And he's going to say, you can read, he's going to say, you can read anything. And because Purvapaksha is going to arise, there are people who are doing a lot of Dvaita Vyavahara, Janaka and this and that, and it is going to come. Therefore, why can't we do? We also want to do. Why do you want to restrict us? Etc. etc. He is going to answer that. But here he is giving a warning. So those people who would study this Anya Shastra, Dvaita Shastra, etc., which we talked about, Vyakaranam, this, that, etc., are getting lost in this overwhelming Dvaita Vyavahara. Because after a certain years of study, one gets a confidence, but at some time overconfidence also. Oh, I have studied Vedanta very well. Nothing can touch me. But they don't know that they are quite away from this teaching. Once you are away from, once you travel a certain distance from the Vedanta, then coming back to Vedanta is very difficult. Very difficult. Tattva smritehe avasarah nasti. There is no scope of this, remembering this teaching. Right? Anyway, so the prarabdha takes to this rough weather, and even we know, even Jnani can't escape this prarabdha. It can bring any kind of a difficulty at unexpected time. So Vedanta should be always ready. One should not, go away from this Vedantic teaching. And that's an Nidhyasana. If you keep on doing the Nidhyasana on a daily basis, you will be with the Vedantic teaching. Of course, certain Vyavahara you can't avoid, but then you are tied to a rope and you move around. Otherwise, this Vidya which we have through Shravan Mananam will not be useful. Pustakastha ya vidya, parahaste cha yadhanam, avashyakale samprapte, nasa vidya, natadhanam. This is very well known. So, pustakastha ya vidya pustakastha. The knowledge which is there in the book and the money which is there in somebody's hand, avashya kale samprapte. When really I need, well, nasa vidya natadhanam. Knowledge is there. I need right now. I am doing Vyavahara. Prarabdha has brought a certain unexpected situation. And knowledge is there to shield me from that, right? But knowledge is there, but not in the head. It is there in the book. It won't be useful. And parahaste yadhanam. Sometimes husband and wife goes together. Then she says, I will keep the money. You don't keep because you spend a lot of money. So, therefore you don't keep. I will keep. And somewhere they go and she gets lost or he gets lost somewhere. And now he doesn't have even mobile. And what to do now? He has no money also. So now he needs money because at least to reach home. Parahaste yad dhanam. Yad dhanam parahaste na tad dhanam. The wealth which is there, the money which is there in her pocket is not money for me right now because it is not no use to me. The knowledge which is there in the book is not a knowledge for me. That's what it is. So, ya vidya pustakasya natu vidya for me. That vidya is not for me. That is there in the book. Anyway. So, it should be readily available. Only this knowledge also should be readily available provided you have opened the gates of subconscious mind. You are in a process of pushing the knowledge from the conscious mind to the subconscious mind. That's how it is. Otherwise, no recollection of teaching. How will I open this subconscious mind? You should not open. Just practice Nididhyasanam on a daily basis. That's it. To create a habit, what do? You experience that thing again and again. What can you do? That's it. Getting up early, if you want, suppose, then that's the only thing that you put an alarm and get up. First day, lot of difficulty. Second day, some little less difficulty. After 15 days, you are done. I mean, you can get up easily. Therefore, only dwelling on Vedantic teaching again and again is the opening of a subconscious mind. Nothing else. Percolating subconscious mind. When don't think anything. Knowledge is some liquid and it is going into my personality. Nothing. Practice again and again. Impress your mind again and again. That's the only thing. So it's very evident like a daylight. Nothing, no miraculous thing here. No miraculous thing. we have discussed this. Any miraculous thing happens in Nidhyasanam while doing Nidhyasanam means it is not Nidhyasanam. Any miraculous thing happens. Why we are talking? Because people come and say, I am doing dhanam and I see this and I feel this, and Swamiji, my mind was totally gone. There was total absence of mind. They feel that still mind is Atma Sakshatkara. That's all. Any experience, miraculous experience, is experience. Experience means then the object of experience. You are away. Object comes, we are away. We talk all the time about subject. And therefore, nothing happens in Nidhyasana. Only you drop this viparya. That's it. Whole Vedantic teaching and Acharya is only meant for this. Nothing. They are not giving you knowledge of the self. Knowledge of self is not required because self is knowledge, consciousness. And therefore, if you are consciousness, I should not give you the knowledge of the self. Only you drop the notion about that self. That I am Jiva, I am Ahankara, Mamakara, etc. Anyway, so, this knowledge should be readily available. And then only, if you push into subconscious mind, then it will be available. Otherwise, no recollection of the teaching. And then ahankara, mamakara, this vyavara, aham, mama, will weaken. Otherwise, they will make this knowledge weak, Vedantic teaching weak, if you don't percolate into subconscious mind. Pratyuta, on the other hand, abhyasa means brahmabhyasa, ghatitvat. This brahmabhyasa in Nidhyasanam, ghatitvat, it destroys. Balat tattvam upekshate, this tattva jnanam, is given up. Balat, forcibly, because of the strong ahankara, mamakara, vyavara. So even before coming to Vedanta, Shastra, asks us to practice this weaken ahankara, mamakara, so that at least in Nidhyasanam it will not be difficult for you to knock off this ahankara, mamakara. Knocking off ahankara, mamakara, negating ahankara, mamakara is understanding them as a mithya. That's it. Understanding them mithya means after gaining clarity, total gaining clarity that I am Brahman, ahankara will still be experienced. Mamakara will be still experienced. Somewhere. Oh, this is my wife. Suppose a jnani can say like that. That's not a problem. This is my wife. Oh, Swamiji, you have Brahman. I am not married, but I am saying you. So, point is, because ahankara, mamakara goes means very I sense itself, you all should not be there. Then the person will, that's only possible when the person goes to coma then. So any jnani will go into coma immediately. As the clarity happens, he goes to coma because no aham mama. That's it. That doesn't happen. If that happens, there is no jivan mukti at all. A person wants to enjoy the freedom and he goes to coma. Where is jivan mukti? Where is jivan mukti? So we should understand, jivan mukti means he has a ahankara. Jivan mukti also is a mukti, it's a relative. I have told you, there is only one mukti, that is nitya mukti. Jivan mukti also is a empirical. At the level of ahankara, he feels I am free. I am free. I'm free from the effect of time, place, and any condition. I'm not subject to time, place, and condition, you can say. So that kind of freedom he enjoys. And for that freedom only we work. To experience that freedom, we work. I'm of that nature, but once I drop the notion, well, I understand. I can enjoy that freedom. Anyway, so that ahankara, mamakara basically, they are reduced when you start practicing karma yoga. You bring Ishvara. That's the only way to, loosen this, the grip on this ahankara, mamakara. So this aham mama vikari is practiced in karma yoga. This Vishwarupa itself is like this. Sahasra Shirsha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat Sabhumi Vishwado Vrutva Atyadishta Dashangulam Purusha Eved, etc. Sahasra Shirsha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat. Every head is a head of Ishvara. Every leg is a leg of Ishvara. Vishwarupa. Anyway, so your claim on your body, this is my head, will go. This is my body, will go. Because every body is a body of Ishvara. In Vishwarupa, everything is included. Virat Rupa. So, my point is this bhakti or even karma yoga, etc., will reduce to an extent this ahankara. It won't go. Still, the reality is there. But it has weakened. And then all members which I claim of my own, this boy belongs to me, he is my son. That body, that mind, everything belongs to Ishvara. And your body, your mind also belongs to Ishvara. When Ishvara comes, ahankara mamakara becomes. So basically, whatever I claim of my own, either this body or someone's body, I deliberately disclaim through karma yoga or through upasana, through bhakti, whatever. So you can say I'm instrumental in bringing up the children, or in giving birth to the children. Ultimately, they have a prarabdha to exhaust through the body. For that, some parentage is required to give the body. And so parents are instrumental for jivas getting the body. Bhagavan only is a creator. These are the forms of Bhagavan. Parents are instruments. Ishvara is creator, we can say that way. So we have to reduce this ahankara and mamakara, and then they can be understood as a mithya easily in nididhyasanam, or even in knowledge also, shravanam mananam also. So that's how karma yoga becomes a sadhanam and jnana yoga becomes a sadhya. That's how. So first karma yoga is very helpful. That's how Puja Swami used to say, no one can bypass Ishvara. That is the thing. Bypassing Ishvara means to understand ahankara, mamakara as mithya will be difficult. When you understand Ishvara, right? That's not bypassing this. You understand Ishvara in your life. Ahankara, mamakara will reduce. Ishvara means which pervades everything. That's what Ishvara is. Ishvara does not pervade. Then he is a jiva, another jiva. If your understanding of Ishvara means Ishvara pervades everything in my life, then where is ahankara? What can I claim? Nothing I can claim. To disclaim deliberately karma yoga is required. And then understanding them as a mithya, jnanam is required. That's what it is. And therefore, basically, if otherwise aham mama becomes strong, Vedanta upekshate, he says, Vedanta is gone, upekshate, gone. How do I know Vedanta? I am far away from Vedanta. In your mind, if worries and sorrow and everything, this fear and everything looms large, then definitely Vedanta is far away. So happiness, etc. will become a joke, really. While doing Shravan Manan, you understood, I am happiness, I am source of happiness. And now you feel, I am happiness. That's a joke. Means you are far away from Vedanta. Balat tattvam upekshate. Balat, forcibly. Tattvam upekshate. This truth about the self is gone. Ahankara mamakara is not truth about myself. So that becomes strong. Tattvam upekshate. Let's go to verse 128. Tamevaikam vijanitha yanya vacho vimunchatha iti shrutam tathanyatra vacho viglapanam tviti. Sounds familiar, right? You may feel that we have studied already and Swamiji is repeating, but this kind of verse has already come before in verse 107. It has already come. He is reminding again. So Vidyaranya reminds Shruti Vakya in support of this contention, and he says that this is not my idea, that Dvaita Shastra should be avoided, studying Dvaita Vyavahara, you should be very careful, etc. Not going deep into that. Well, he says, this all thing I am talking on the basis of Shruti only. So, the Shastra prescribes during Nidhyasanam, this should be observed. That's what he is quoting. In verse 107, we are already understood this thing, but he is reminding here. So in Mundaka Upanishad 2-5, he is quoting two Shruti statements here. Not completely, but in a certain nutshell. So Mundaka Upanishad 2-5, Tameva ekam vijanitha. Well, I the seeker of moksha, you may not know that is the reality, which is one, of course. Everything else is mithya. Tameva, tam eva, ekam vijanitha. That Atma should be understood as a one thing alone. Everything else is mithya. Anya vachaha vimunchatha. Well, so may you drop all obsessions which deal with Dvaitam, you can say. Actually, vachaha means words. Words mean Shastra. Anya vachaha. Anya vacha means the Shastra which is other than the Vedanta, means Dvaita Shastras. Vimunchata, give up. So we can say, may you drop all this obsession which deal with this Dvaita, which deal with the Arthakama Purushartha, even which deal with the Dharma Purushartha also. Frankly, all the three Purusharthas. Moksha Shastra means Vedanta Shastra, means basically which gives you moksha. Then other than that, any Shastra will be for other three Purushartha, Artha, Kama and Dharma. So we can say even that you give an obsession, you give up the obsession for any other Purushartha also. Or basically if he is a Nididhyasaka, we can say, you drop all obsession for Vyavahara, which deal with Dvaita. Vimunchatha, tha is there, but you should understand first. Vimunchata. This is all Chandasa Prayoga. May you give up. Anya vachaha, it's a second case. So vachaha, second case. Vak vacho, vachaha, vacham vacho, vacha, etc. Vacha is a plural. Second case, plural. It is Shrutam. This is a Mundaka Upanishad. So Shrutam, iti Shrutam is this is a Shruti Vakya. Anyatra, elsewhere, means in Brihadaranyaka also, 4.4.21, Vacho Viglapanam hitat, talking about anything else is only weakening, vocal cord. Viglapanam means weakening. Vachaha Viglapanam, Vacha is a sixth case. Means here, your vocal cord is, you talk about any other Shastra is weakening your vocal cord. Means it is futile, basically. That's what he says. Viglapanam can be weakening, wasting also can say. Vachaha Viglapanam. It's a wasting of your vocal cord, wasting of your speech. Because any Dvaitam is mithya. More you talk about Dvaita Shastra, so more you are talking about a mithya thing. Then any mithya thing will not give you any phalam. Mithya thing, but mithya thing serves a purpose. That serves a purpose at an empirical level. What you really want, Moksha, etc. is not real. Freedom, or happiness, or peace, or security. This is all moksha purushartha. Ah, Arthakama does not give you happiness. We know everything, we have discussed several times. Yeah, everyone wants one thing. That thing will not be available if you remain in Dvaita Shastra or you talk about Dvaita Shastra. That's what it means. Swami, because it serves a purpose. Who says no? But ultimately, the main purpose, the goal, because of which the human being feels has a sense of fulfillment, that won't come. So that's how that way it becomes viglapana, wasting. Anyway, let's go to verse 129. This verse we have already seen before, 107. Aharadityajan jivet shastrantaram tyajan kim na jivasi ye naivam karoshyatra duragraham. Here Vidyaranya is answering a possible question. What is the question? Well, why should Nididhyasaka should give up all Dvaita Vyavahara? After all, you permit to eat, that's also Dvaita Vyavahara. Shravanam Mananam involves Dvaitam. Teacher is there and myself, the student, all Dvaitam. So much Dvaitam is there. Why you are against so much Dvaitam? Why should you, and Nididhyasaka should give up all Dvaita Vyavahara? So you allow some more Dvaitam. The way you allow food and the way you allow Shravana Mananam, let us have some more Dvaita Vyavahara. Vidyaranya says, well, some Dvaita Vyavahara are required for mere existence of the body. And if a person is a grihastha, he can't avoid certain Vyavahara also. So, Vyavahara should be divided into two. Avoidable, unavoidable. That's all. Shari yatra pichate na prasiddhi akarmana. That's what Bhagavan said. Sharira yatra pichate na prasiddhi. If a person gives up a karma, etc. Bhagavan said that in 3rd chapter. Then even his body will not survive. He says that's how for discussing, Jnani. He said at one place, Shariram kevalam karma kurvan napina lipyate. Shariram kevalam karma. Shariram karma. Shariram karma. The karma which belongs to the physical body. Shariram sharire bhavaha shariram. Sharire bhavaha, which belongs to sharira. He continues. This jnani means sustaining the body, etc. Pikshatram, etc. Continues. So that's allowed. So let us have, the way that is allowed, let us have some more Dvaita Vyavahara also. So we said certain unavoidable Vyavahara, which it should be there, otherwise he can't sustain the life also. And so Aharadi, I am allowing that Ahara, etc. and studying, but studying advanced Vyakarana, Tarka, etc. Well, are not required for survival of the body. So may you give up. Aharadi tyajan, giving the food, etc., clothing, etc. Naiva jivet, person won't survive. And so they have to be continued. Only thing it should be for hunger removal, we saw last time. Shastrantaram tyajan. Shastrantaram. Anyat shastram shastrantaram. That's a samasa. Anyat shastra. By giving up other shastra, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, etc. But if you give up Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Shastra, you give up Vyakarana, you give up Mimamsa Shastra, you give up Nyaya Shastra, Kim na jivasi? Will you not be able to survive? You can survive. But if you give up food, then I can't survive. That's what it is. So certain unavoidable Vyavahara, Dvaita Vyavahara is there. Certain avoidable Dvaita Vyavahara is there. We are talking about the Vyavahara, avoidable Dvaita Vyavahara, that this should be dropped. So, yena atra duragraham karoshi. And therefore, why do you have this duragraha? I'm asking this kind of question. All Dvaita Vyavahara should be dropped. Or let us have some more Dvaita Vyavahara. If bhojanam, etc. is allowed, Shravan Mananam is allowed, Shravanam is allowed, let's say. Then let us have some other Dvaita Vyavahara. He said, why do you have this Duragraha? Yena atra Duragraham karoshi. Here you are doing all this Duragraha as though all the Shastra, Dvaita Shastras are as though required for survival. Well, that's not required. Nowadays, gossip. Dvaita Shastra means gossip. In Gujarati, there is a good word. I don't know. From Gujarati must have come from English. Because guspus. In English it is gossip. It really amuses me. Anyway, let's go to 130. Janakade katham rajyam iti ched dridabodhatah tatha tavapi ched tarkam pathayadva krishim kuru. So again, Vidyaranya, answers another possible question. So the student who is not happy to restrict Dvaita Vyavahara, so he is asking a question, that why are you restraining us for all this Dvaita Vyavahara? We have heard of this King Janaka, etc. Very much, they were very much working in the world. They were the kings, Ashwapati, Janaka, Ajatashatru, so many are there. So many are there. Nobody took sannyasa. Nobody took sannyasa. Therefore, sannyasa is just a fancy, okay? And therefore, because as you study this, a certain fancy of sannyasa also comes in the mind. This all is useless. Everything is useless. Let's become a Swami or Swamini, whatever. So that is a best thing. To sit under a tree in an ashramam, wearing this ochre robes and etc. and books in the front, and anybody comes and then you teach. If nobody comes, take a mala, and this is a wonderful life. That kind of a thing. Nobody took sannyasa. In Brihadaranyaka, there is a Vamsha Brahmana at two places, and it shows a Vamsha, lineage of teachers and students. And if you see that teacher-student lineage, hardly you will find a sannyasi. Hardly. It's amazing. And therefore they were Grihastha, they were doing Dvaita Vyavahara. So much. Kings means what? Ayyo. So many things they were doing. And they were having a knowledge. Ajatashatru gave a knowledge to Balaki, Drupta Balaki. In, I think, Ajatashatru Brahmana in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, I think in second chapter. Ajatashatru gave a knowledge of Brahman to Balaki through Avasthatraya. He shows that Atma is Avasthatraya Sakshi. Very beautiful. Uddalaka. So many, see? Another. Uddalaka gave a knowledge to his own son. Uddalaka has not become sannyasi. He was a king. This our Shvetaketu, MIT graduate, came back after study. Anyway, so this all Janakadehi Rajyam Katham. You are saying give up Dvaita Vyavahara while doing Nididhyasanam, it will bring distraction, these and obstacle. And Janakadehi Rajyam Katham. How do they administer this kingdom and everything? And are you able to say they are not jnanis? They were jnanis. Jnanis means they must have done Nididhyasanam while doing all this. Right? Ruling over kingdom and everything. How? Then why you are saying this? To reduce. So, iti ched dridabodhatah. Very beautiful. So, they had unshaken knowledge, which is not disturbed by any vyavahara. Dridabodha. Even in worst condition, they did not forget that I am not the body. Nothing belongs to me. Janaka literally showed there was a situation, and Janaka showed that Mithila is burning. It doesn't belong to me. So do you have that? Which shows that Mamakara is not there. Means Ahankara is not there. And therefore, even though he came for a study, and so he was not a sannyasi. He was studying, but still. And therefore, rule is this: Mandajnanam Vyavahara is inimical. Mandajnanam and Vyavahara. is inimical to each other. And so now up to you. If you are a Janaka, well, no problem. Do as much as you want. Or if you have Mandajnanam, well, reduce this Dvaita Vyavahara. So only when Shravan Mananam completed, well, Jnanam is there. But if it is not uploaded, we can say in this computer language, if it should be uploaded in a subconscious mind. Once your knowledge is uploaded from conscious mind, which is generated from Shravanam Mananam into subconscious, well, you are free. Well, and that is only possible through Nididhyasana. So after a long Nididhyasana, when you become clear, then this problem will not come. This ahamannam, 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 ahamannado, ahamannado, ahamannadah, ahagashloka kruda, ahagashloka kruda, ahagashloka kruda, etc., etc. This kind of thing is coming. Ahamannam and ahamannadah. I am the eater and I am the one which is eaten. All this thing is coming. When annam comes, no. When annam comes, I feel this is very nice. This dish is really good. Well, then is mandajnanam. Okay? If it is mandajnanam, reduce your vyavahara. Other than eating food, everything else you reduce. In our mind, after getting up, from the Nididhyasana or while doing Nididhyasana, if all the worries about family, etc. comes, that shows it is mandajnana. And Nididhyasana is to make your knowledge firm through percolation into subconscious mind. And so, well, definitely, then once you percolate, then ahankara, mamakara already has become mithya. Then study. Advance grammar, study advance, everything advance, no danger. Or read even newspaper also, or read film magazines. Yeah, he is going to say that also. Anyway, this is my addition. So, when when they give an example of this plant, when the plant is small, it is protected. Focusing is required, fencing is required. Then, well, because every aham mama goat can eat this, sprouting this knowledge plant. Once it becomes a tree, well, you can tie not only goat to this tree, but you can tie even elephant there. So that is what it is. So this sprouting tree is like our mandajnana. So fencing is required. Certain Dvaita Vyavahara which is unavoidable we should do, we should follow. Other than that, well, we should avoid. And once it becomes a dridajnana, like a tree, then no problem. They give another example of that, when the floor is, freshly laid, then they say even nobody should walk. Even a human being can't walk on that. Once it is become firm, then they say even elephant can walk on that. So that is how it is. So Shravan Mananam, knowledge is like this. It's a freshly laid flooring. So Vidyaranya says, oh student, which category you are in? Well, your knowledge is like a plant or your knowledge is like a tree, you decide. If it is a tree, well, you live as you like. Do as much as Vyavahara you want to do. Otherwise, follow restrictions. Pathyam, that's what it is, right? Nididhyasana is aushadam, to remove this disease, ahankara, mamakara, etc. And pathyam is reducing Dvaita Vyavahara, certain do's and don'ts, restrictions we should follow. So dridabodhataha, well, by this firm knowledge, dridabodhataha, that tasil pratyaya is in the sense of a tritiya. By this firm knowledge, tava api, if your knowledge is from, well, dridaha cheti, well, it won't, then these restrictions will not be there. Then tarkam patha, he says, tarkam patha, well, study tarka shastra. Or else, well, as much as social media, etc., you want to see, no problem. Yadva krishim kuru, buy a farm, make a farmhouse, and do organic farming, no problem. Krushim Kuru. So there is not a problem. Pashyan, Shunvan, Sprishan, Jigran, Ashnan, Gachan, Swapan, Svashan, Pralapan, Umishan, Nimishan, Indriyani, Indriyartheshu, Vartante, iti Avadharaya. Pashyan, Shunvan, Sprishan. Pashyan, seeing social media. Shunvan, any kind of stories. Pashyan, Shunvan, Sprishan, Jigran, any flower you can have a fragrance, no problem. Ashnan, anything you like. No, I should. No, you eat, please eat. You eat all kinds of things, no problem. Nothing happens to you. Ashnan. Pashyan, Shunvan, Sprishan, Jigran, Ashnan, Gachan. Anywhere you want to go, go. But can I go to cinema hall? Yes, you can go. Let's just make you on a lighter side. So Ashnan, Gachan, Swapan. How many hours I can sleep? As much as you like. Swasan, Pralapan. I can talk or I should restrict my speech? No. Whatever you like to talk, you can talk. Can I talk on economics? Yes, you can. Can I talk on chemistry? Yes, you can. Pralapan, Visrujan, Unmission, Nimission. Very beautiful, Swami. Bhagavan said in Bhagavad Gita. So means these restrictions are there when your knowledge is like a sprouting tree. Fencing is required. Verse 131. Just this is last verse. That's how I'm taking a few more minutes. मिथ्यात्ववासनादार्ढ्ये प्रारब्धक्षयकांक्षया अक्लिश्यन्तः प्रवर्तन्ते स्वस्वकर्मानुसारतः. How many people like Janaka etc. continued in the world? They had family possessions, they had obligatory duties, they had relationships, they had transactions, right? We have talked about this. Well, then it's not because of a certain personal likes and dislikes, or their own needs. Well, because of they were in a certain situation where all these things are required. Generally, I hold on to things, because I have a dependence on them. So it's all prarabdha based. Mithyatva vasana dardhye sati. When Jagat Mithyatvam is dardhyam is very, very clear, very firm. Jagat Mithyatvam is very, very clear. If this is well entrenched in the subconscious mind, prarabdha kshaya kankshaya, akankshaya, intention. Prarabdha kshaya kankshaya. So, everyone has to exhaust the prarabdha. Jnani also has an intention to exhaust the prarabdha. Well, because body has arrived for this purpose. Bhagavan is in charge of law of karma, etc. And so, Jnani basically cooperates with that till the prarabdha gets exhausted. He cooperates with the Ishvara. Any prarabdha, any situation in anybody's life is Ishvara's will. That's all. Any situation in your life or my life is Ishvara's will. That's it, because he is a karmaphala data. So Jnani now totally cooperates with that. So till he exhausts the prarabdha. So Bhagavan is a sutradhara, well, he falls in line with that. So aklishyantaha swasva karma anusarataha pravartante. Aklishyantaha, it does not resist. Jnani does not resist. Swasva karma anusarataha, in keeping with swasva karma, in keeping with one's own prarabdha, pravartante. Whatever activity is there, he keeps doing, etc. Anyway, we see further. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.